All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. This is going to be a shorter stream, but this is to go ahead and kind of, at least preliminarily, or should I say address. Sorry, it's late. Had a little bit of a busy day after my last stream. But let's address what exactly the friend zone is. So at this point, it's more of me just defining what the friend zone is to clear up any misunderstandings. I'm probably not going to go into any real way that it damages anything. This is just to go ahead and define it. The reason why I feel the need to define it is because earlier in the stream that I had today, there was some confusion on what someone meant by the friend zone. And I've noticed that a lot of women are confusing what men mean by the friend zone. Men typically understand the friend zone. Don't get me wrong. There's some guys that are just complete and total dipshits that don't understand it, that are using it as an excuse or something along those lines, whatever you want to say. And no, I'm not using that as shaming. I'm just saying that they're not in full understanding of what it is. What the friend zone itself is this kind of social space around a woman that she keeps kind of that plan B guy in. Or should I say the plan B guys, you know? And the difference between just wanting to be a friend to someone, like not really being interested in them romantically, is very different from friend zoning them. The friend zone is where the woman is constantly putting out those little crumbs of hope, you know, saying, oh, well, maybe, maybe acting in a way that's not limited to friendship from time to time. Now, the thing is guess what, ladies? You're not the only ones that friend zone. Guys, depending on the situation, can friend zone girls. I saw that happen in high school with jocks, and you never hear this mentioned. But I saw a few jocks actually friend zoning some girls, keeping them as the backup. So if they got desperate or if they just wanted to go ahead and, I guess, quote unquote, slum it, they could go ahead and do it, purposely stringing the girl along. And that's the difference, is you're stringing the person along. You're not sitting there and saying, no, I'm not interested. There's no chance. No. It's when a girl sits there and gives an ambiguous answer, where it's all like, oh, well, I'm not looking for anything right now. Now, you might mean that as I'm not interested, but the thing is that's on you. You are not communicating effectively because you're trying to save the other person's feelings. But what you're doing, what you're saying there, what you're actually saying, what it translates to is, well, you haven't tried hard enough. Or, I haven't made my decision yet, get back to me later. And when you continuously give that answer, that's when you're friend zoning. Especially when you're sitting there and constantly accepting those little trinkets that are given. Again, that comes down to just the mating game. I mean, it's a thing that happens. But the friend zone is not something that only men can fall into. Women can fall into the friend zone as well, although it is much more rare. And at that point, it's done by a guy that's in pretty high demand. Now, which guys are in high demand actually changes throughout life. but you get what I'm saying. I'm probably going to go ahead and do a live stream tomorrow, getting much more in depth into this, because this is a subject that I believe requires some actual scrutiny to it, some actual real attention, a real look, instead of just saying, well, it is what it is. I think we need to go ahead and answer why it is what it is. And not to mention right now, I know that a lot of my normal people that I have on the channel are asleep, so they're not going to be able to interact here, not going to be able to actively ask those questions. And I would prefer that people be able to ask those questions actively in the chat, and I can answer them in real time, as opposed to typing out an answer, creating a little response video. I like that more person-to-person interaction as much as you can get on the internet. But I just wanted to go ahead and define exactly what the friend zone is. And typically I would just make a video of it, but right now my phone's being kind of weird with recording videos, and so I'm still trying to figure that bullshit out. But the thing is with the friend zone, it is the lack of interest in an individual without showing that true lack of interest, while purposely or subconsciously stringing the person along, hoping to get special privileges or special gifts or special considerations or favors from said individual, with no intent whatsoever of reciprocation of those feelings. Not even a chance of it. Or if it does happen, it's later and as more of a, oh, well, I'll settle for this thing. That is the friend zone. It is a very thankless area to be in. And that's the reason why guys are so angry about it. Because guys got suckered into it for a long time. And the thing is, the vast majority of people that find themselves in the friend zone are guys. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll go into more detail in my stream tomorrow. It'll be a little bit earlier on than my typical streams, but I will go ahead and do a stream tomorrow on it. And I'm sure that a lot of the guys that will end up watching have at some point either personally been in the friend zone, have seen other guys get friend zoned, or have at the very least had the attempt made to put them in the friend zone. Some people are a little too smart to get put into that place. They can read between the lines, and they can actually be honest with themselves. And they'll just say, ah, fuck it, and move on. But the funniest thing is when you refuse to be friend zoned, how's it going, Valeria? But the thing is when you refuse to be friend zoned, then all of a sudden people call you an asshole or something along those lines. Valeria says most are afraid to admit it. They're plan B. If our hopes fall, basically, if hopes fall through. Also, many have such a high opinion of themselves that being our friend is considered equal to the gifts. Yes, exactly. Oh, it's no problem, Valeria. I always welcome someone's input. You're the way that you're speaking, Valaria. It sounds like you might be female. Am I mistaken? If I am, I do apologize. It's kind of hard to tell through text. But I do agree with you. It is a crappy mindset, and it really is unrealistic, and you have every reason to hate it. Manipulating someone's feelings is not. All right, Valaria. Well, thank you for wading into this. I don't know if you're particularly new. You sound familiar. I don't know if you're from the other channels or whatever that I've been associated with lately, but welcome to the channel. If this is really your first time coming here, or if you're an irregular, welcome back. But yeah, and the thing is it's very funny because I've spoken to many women about the friend zone, and almost every single one of them said, "Oh yeah, it's a real thing." The only time I hear people say the friend zone is absolute bullshit is either someone's trying to troll, or if they're being, unrealistic, they're not actually addressing reality. They're just going off of a knee-jerk reaction. But the more common, by far, the most common situation where I see someone denying the friend zone and its existence are the ones that are the most guilty of friend zoning people. But I mean, at that point, when women or men, doesn't matter. I just say when women, because women tend to be the major offenders here for fairly obvious reasons. When someone goes ahead and does that, at that point, it's to me, it's no different than scamming someone online. It's absolutely no different. It's trying to get something for nothing. It's tricking someone. It's manipulating them. How's it going, Bullet? And that's typically the women that will sit there and actively break down the friend zone. That's the reason why I know about the friend zone so much, because the thing is, I never was able, like if I had an interest in a girl, I would make those interests known, and if that didn't pan out, I didn't sit there and become one of her beta orbiters. I refused to let myself become a plan B. It was one of those, look, either you're interested or you're not situations. But I'm not going to sit there and torture myself being around someone that I have feelings for. Watching them go through all the bullshit and then listen to their blatant stupidity when they sit there and ask why they can't find a good guy. Now, you can go ahead, you can say that this is narcissistic of me, but I'm a pretty decent guy. At least I like to think so. I'm a lot better than the guy that'll sit there and treat someone like complete and total shit just because I don't actually give a shit about them and I take them for granted. I'm not one of those people. So the thing is at that point, I refused to be around that. There was one time where I risked getting friend zoned, but I got out of it right quick and in a hurry because I saw what was going on and I refused to be manipulated in that way. And sure as shit, as soon as I broke out of that friend zone and said, you know what, fuck this, all of a sudden I was an asshole and so on and so forth, just all that shit. And this was before this big old movement of, oh, if a man's not interested in a woman, then he's got to be sexist in some way, or he's got to be objectifying her or whatever. This was well before that. This has been a very, very common occurrence for a long time. It's nothing new. It's just it's gotten worse. Oh, Valeria, at any point, I'm willing to go ahead and discuss red pill rage because it's a very real thing, and it's something that while it can be a very useful tool, and it's always a required part of becoming red pilled, because we naturally will reject severe changes, and getting red pilled is the most severe change you will ever fucking go through. In all honesty, it turns your world upside down. It's like it's literally opening your eyes for the first time. Because before you're red pilled, you think, all right, there's some problems in the world, but it's not that bad. As soon as you're red pilled, it's like, holy shit. There are so many programming errors with people. What the fuck? How did this pass? So I will have no problems discussing red pill rage, Valaria. I have absolutely no issues. Go ahead and message me at times, and I'll sit there and I'll try to let you know roughly what my time is, that I can go ahead and do those types of streams. So that way you can actually show up for it, not just have to watch afterward. Because if you have active questions, I would love to be able to go ahead and do it. Because the thing is at this point, as much as I hate to admit it, some people never get out of that red pill rage. And the thing is red pill rage does have its dangers as well as its uses. Just like with any form of self-awakening, it can go in one of two directions. It can either go in a good direction or it can go in a bad direction. The thing is the red pill rage does actually kind of go into the recent election that we had. And the thing is I'm not afraid of getting political on my channel. In fact, I do cover some political stuff on my channel from time to time, as I feel that it's necessary for someone like me to address. But I also try to mainly stick with either MGTOW topics or just topics that are fun and goofy, one of the two. But I am more than willing to go into politics, because the thing is MGTOW has actually started affecting politics. In fact, I really don't think that without this red pill movement that we've seen, people actually addressing reality and not just taking the information that's handed to us, but us actually going out and actually looking at it and actually comparing the information that we're being given to our real world experiences and noticing the inconsistencies. I really don't think Trump would have gotten in without it. In fact, I think he owes his entire presidency to the idea of being red pilled at this point. Because if it wasn't for that, all of us would believe that he was just a womanizing piece of shit that hated anyone who wasn't white and all that sort of shit. We would have believed all that bullshit. Oh, Valaria, on my channel, people are used to topics kind of bouncing around. They know that the title of my streams is the topic that I'm typically starting out on, and it'll be a general idea of what the discussion is, but they know that other things will be talked about here. So no issues there. Oh, no problem for hearing you out. I hear out just about anyone on my channel. It's very rare for me to sit there and just tell someone to sit down and shut up. Because the thing is everyone's entitled to their opinions and their own thoughts. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I have this channel. It was to more be thought-provoking, even when I was planning on doing more of a video gaming thing. But now I'm making a second channel along with a friend of mine to cover video gaming stuff, since a lot of the people that get onto this channel aren't really too into the whole video gaming scene. So I understand that. I mean, this channel is honestly 90% of my subscribers, I think, come for MGTOW content alone. So it makes sense. It's all fine. But yeah, and I agree with you that people don't think through the whole topic of the friend zone, because you tend to get mostly emotional reactions. From guys, you get rage because honestly, who likes being made out to be a fool? Who likes to sit there and admit that they just wasted their time and affection on someone that was never planning on returning it in the first place? And the other person getting away with it basically scot-free. No one likes to admit that. No one likes to admit that they just got taken for a ride. But the thing is also I agree with you. Yes, you if someone is friend zoned and then breaks out of it, they're going to get completely and totally wrecked when it comes to people trying to shame them and that sort of thing. But that's only if they let them get to them. See, that's the thing. A lot of MGTOWs really infuriate a lot of people because no matter how much they try to, hey, how's it going, Danish? But no matter how much people try to shame MGTOW, MGTOWs just flip them the bird and say, if you don't like it, walk the fuck away. Screw you. That's a lot of the mentality of MGTOW at this point. And that's honestly a self-defense mechanism at this point. It's the only way to get out of it because the whole shaming tactic has been very effective in the past because men have put so much emphasis, or should I say we've been taught to put so much emphasis on what others think of us. In fact, it's very rare that a man can sit there and just be judged on how happy he is with himself. Very, very rare. But the thing is that's actually changing now. Because the thing is men are realizing, you know what? I'm my own person. I can stand on my own. I can be my own island. And if you're telling me that my island isn't needed, then my island will drift away from you. And then it's up to you to go ahead and open up the trade routes with my island. You put in the effort. I'm tired of putting in the effort. Oh, and I understand fully, Valaria. Yeah, the thing is, a lot of MGTOW groups have become very hostile toward women, but a lot of those groups are in the middle of red pill rage. But I'll go ahead. I'll cover that later on. When I go ahead and do that stream. In fact, with the next stream, I might actually go ahead and cover red pill rage at the same time. Without doxing yourself, Valaria, like as I'm talking right now, is it daytime where you're at or is it nighttime? Because for me right now, it's midnight. I'm just trying to figure out what time frame you're in, so that way I can go ahead and maybe do a stream where you'll be able to show up for it, or maybe do a stream a little bit earlier or a little bit later than usual, just to go ahead and accommodate there. Because when people are new to my channel, I know sometimes they have a lot of stuff. All right, so it's midnight for you. All right, cool. So you're in the same time zone as me. Well, I honestly, if you're interested in my content, because a lot of it is done through live stream, like if you want to go ahead and subscribe and then hit the notification bell, it'll automatically let you know every time whenever I'm doing a live stream. And I've been trying to get to the point where I'm at least giving a little bit of warning before my live streams start. But the thing is I have a lot of people that are subscribed to me from all over the world at this point. And so it's all like, I'm trying to do my live streams at a more, at the fairest time, and where I can get the most people in on it, at least give them a chance of it. That's another reason why I'm doing multiple streams during the day, because I'm trying to get it to where people can at least get in on the stuff. How's it going, Warrior? What's up? But yeah, so tomorrow, when I go into more detail about the friend zone and the damages that it causes, I'll also go ahead and I'll cause red pill rage, because they are somewhat actually interlinked. But when you show up to the stream, remind me, just in case I forget. Because like I've said in previous streams, I ain't perfect. I'm human. I can forget things. But by all means, I have no problems answering questions about red pill rage. Yeah, fair enough. I understand. That's another reasons why my live streams are kind of up in the air as to where I do them. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to be doing my live stream at anywhere from noonish time to 2 o'clock is where I'll start it. But my streams tend to run kind of long. I mean, hell, there was one stream I did with several other people where the stream actually lasted for damn near 8 hours. But my streams lately have been around an hour to 2 hours, unless I have other guests on. Hey, how's it going, Zeitgeist? Fair enough, Warrior. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I promised earlier in another stream that I would go ahead and kind of address friend zone and at least give a definition of it. So I went ahead and decided to define it here. And Valaria, read Bullet Machine's post there, because it's very true. And for people who are watching after the fact who can't see it, I'll go ahead and read it out right now. The reason why most MGTOW channels are hostile to women is because in real life we have no space that is male only for male discussions. Not saying there aren't idiots, though. Very, very true. But also at the same time, Bullet Machine, we need to go ahead, and if a woman trickles in from time to time, then that's cool. And if they're coming in and they're legitimately curious and they want to learn and they're actually asking questions, I don't think we should chase them away. Now, if they're coming in just trying to cause problems, that's a completely different thing. They can go ahead and cause issues in any other space. But just a woman coming in and asking questions in a MGTOW space, I don't see an issue with. Because there are some women that are actually interested in figuring out a solution to this horrible mess that we've all found our way in. And so them going ahead and asking questions and us shutting down that conversation, well, then the bad's on us. And I would like to think that once you're more enlightened, you should be a little bit better than that. You should be willing to answer those questions, even if it gets a little bit repetitive. Like, I have the same questions asked to me over and over and over again, and I've answered the same questions over and over and over again. And to a degree, it can get irritating at times. But at the same time, I realize that these people aren't always around at the same time. Yeah, they can go ahead and watch my videos, but would you want to parse through all my bullshit to try to find an answer that happened several months back? I wouldn't. And people have told me all my life that I love to hear myself talk. And even I'm not willing to go through and do that shit. I hate when I have to go through and someone asks a question from a stream before and I have to go ahead and parse through my stream to figure out where I said so I can know exactly what I said so I can elaborate on it accurately. Very fair there, Danish, and I think that's the best way to go. You know, go ahead, get rid of the women that are there just to cause issues. Like one of my, like the person who actually this is for, and unfortunately she's not here right now, is Carly. She's one of my subscribers. Earlier in my last stream, there was a little kind of scuffle in my live chat about friend zoning. But the thing is Carly, from what she said, it was very obvious that she didn't understand exactly what we're referring to when we say friend zone. She was going off of the woman view of friend zone. But that's a completely different scenario. I don't blame people for ignorance, especially when it comes on a subject like this, where so much false information is out there in mainstream. Because there's a lot of women out there that legitimately believe that they're not doing anything wrong when they friend zone someone. And the thing is the reason why they don't think they're doing anything wrong is because of the few situations where a guy legitimately does get butthurt from a woman not being interested. Well, here's the thing, ladies, gotta ask you this question. If you go up and you hit on a guy and he just kind of brushes you off or outright sits there and goes, really, bitch? And then goes off on you in front of your friends for even having the sheer audacity to expect him to lower himself to that level because maybe he thinks he's just all that or whatever, or maybe you are just not attractive to him. How do you feel? Well, guess what? That's what it's like to be a guy any single time a guy goes up to hit on a woman, because that can always fucking happen. And there are some women that'll do that to a guy that isn't even all that bad looking, seems to have a good personality, all of that sort of shit. But she'll sit there and do that just to devastate him, just so that way she can go ahead and make her perceived marketplace value seem higher than what it actually is. Thing is guys can do that, but we have major social consequences for it, whereas women don't. And Valaria, it's a hard pill to swallow for both women and guys. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this might be an unpopular thing for me to say, but it needs to be said. Honestly, I think it's harder for women to swallow the red pill than it is for guys. Because for guys, yeah, we get that red pill rage, but then from it, we gain a bit of information that is oh so positive, that maybe we're not as defective as people said that we were. Whereas with women, when they swallow the red pill, they go from looking at themselves as a individual goddess to all of a sudden being just a mortal pleb like everyone else. That's a long way to drop. And that's what the red pill does to women. That's the reason why so many women hate the red pill. And to any woman who actually takes the red pill and actually takes all that on board and actually makes changes to how they act in their life, to you, I give the utmost props. Well, the thing is, it does somewhat bring hope for guys, but also at the same time, it really puts guys into a bad place. Learning that you've always been looked down upon, that you've always been considered lesser, and that you continue to be considered lesser, even though that you see that you are not lesser, is a very bad place for someone to be. And that tends to result in a lot of anger, hence the red pill rage. But again, I'll go into more detail in my next stream about that. But the thing is it's not all good for guys. In fact, there's quite a bit of negative that comes along with the red pill, but it does give us that steam to go forward. Because guys, typically when guys get angry, we tend to put that energy, that rage, toward good use. We tend to sit there and get so angry that we're all like, no, we're going to fix this unfixable problem because fuck you, that's why. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to read the chat, try to catch up with what's going on over here. Let's see. Judicial ones too. I can remember how many times I've heard it now where women consider it sexual harassment if you hit on them, but only if they don't find you attractive. Yes, that is actually a thing. Danish MGTOW says, I don't hate women. I'm just indifferent to them. I own a business and refuse to employ women. I don't even have a female secretary. And that's all up to you, dude. And the thing is women really don't have a right to complain at that point, since there are female-only companies that will only hire women. Of course, they don't last very long because women tend to not work well together in large groups. Let's see. Valeria says, I'm shy and quiet, but I try. Ultimately, I need not be competition. It really sucks for everyone. We all have our hurdles and strive to manage. Yes, but the thing is also competition drives us forward. So having a little bit of competition there is good. Having that little bit of competitivity is definitely a healthy thing, but you just got to keep it in check. Let's see. I heard a girl once say, a guy smacked my ass and I turned around, ticked off, but then I saw it was hot, so it was fine. That, again, that's a very common thing. And you're right, Valeria, that isn't fair. But the thing is that's the reality that we live in. And MGTOW Warrior says, I don't hate women. I hate feminazi cunts. Yeah, fair warning, Valeria. The word cunt is thrown around a lot on this channel. But that's because I don't think that any words should really be censored. I try not to allow any racial charged words because that's bullshit. You should never go ahead and judge someone based off of what they are. Or should I say what they were born as. That's my thing, and that's kind of one of the things with my channel. But the thing is if you call someone a cunt, you're describing how they're acting. Yeah, it's a very derogatory thing, but you know what? If they're acting in a way that deserves it, guess what? they deserve it. Oh yeah, I'm not sitting there and making it a competition, but I'm just sitting there and saying a lot of people fail to realize that it's actually more difficult for women to take the red pill. Because here's the thing, the red pill, I'm pretty sure, Valeria, that you're going to agree that women tend to be a little bit more emotion-based than guys. Because guys are trained from a very early age to control their emotions, to suppress them, whatever, whatnot. But the thing is women they don't get that training. They don't get it until a little bit later on in life and at a much lesser level. So the thing is the red pill is about logic, reason, and reality. Well, that tends to grate very hard against emotions. And since women tend to be more emotionally based, The red pill is kind of a poison for them. Let's just be completely honest here. And I don't blame women. I mean, just with the way that women's physiology is, and I'm not even talking about their muscle setup or their biological prerogative for bearing children or anything like that. I'm talking about actual physiology as far as the brain makeup is concerned. I've covered this somewhat before on another one, but I'm going to bring it up now. And that is the difference between a male and a female brain. There is a male and a female brain. The reason why I say this is because women tend to have more white matter than gray matter. That doesn't mean women are more stupid. It just means that their brains perceive things in a different way. Oh, Valeria, the thing is even guys have a hard time handling it. Because the thing is just like with women, it kind of grates against guys because the thing is it brings up those emotions and pulls them to the forefront. Because one of the things that men realize when they take the red pill is that they have been socially forced to deny their own emotions, to deny their own feelings, to deny their own wants and desires. Which, again, I mean, if you were learning that, wouldn't it piss you the fuck off? I mean, and then at that point, it releases all those held back emotions. And unfortunately for guys, a lot of those emotions are rage, or at least related to rage. And the thing is one of those emotions is love, is true love. And the thing is the most hot burning rage that you can get is born from love. We even recognize that in society today. Because we have this thing where if someone commits murder or assault, right? There's a modifier that we have on it called a crime of passion. In other words, it's when emotions override because they burned so intensely. Now go ahead and take a look at all the cases out there. Or should I say your standard case out there for a crime of passion? What does it typically entail? Cheating. Your love being betrayed. And so we even understand that on a basic level, on a subconscious level. We understand that love can easily turn to hatred. It can easily turn to rage. Because while love can be one of our greatest strengths, it is also by far our greatest weakness. It's a double-edged sword. And it's funny that I'm sitting here and talking about love on a stream, talking about the friend zone. I find that interesting. But the thing is women, getting back onto what I was talking about before I went off on that little rant, women have more white matter than gray matter. Well, gray matter is better at processing logistics information, math, science, logic, reason, so on and so forth. But then you have white matter, because the thing is women have both gray matter and white matter. Men have both white matter and gray matter. But the thing is it's the percentages that are different. Women have a higher percentage of white matter than gray matter. Men have a higher percentage of gray matter than white matter. It makes sense. From an evolutionary standpoint, it makes sense. Women evolved to be smaller, somewhat weaker, but also more in tune with emotion and more able to manipulate the males of the species. Whereas males evolved to be stronger, faster, and also have better spatial awareness, and as well as the logic to accurately use that spatial awareness to manipulate the world around them. Well, the thing is take a look here. That was actually meant to be a check to the evolution of women. And I don't care if you're talking about actual evolution or even if you're a creationist. It doesn't matter. It still applies. But that physical strength of men was meant to be a check for women, because the thing is men naturally have that point where we snap, also known as keeping their woman in check. I'm hearing more and more women sitting here now and saying men should have kept women in check. Men should have kept women in check. Well, here's the thing. Men are also programmed to protect women, to try to make women happy. That was placed there to keep us from killing off the species. Because logistically speaking, a woman is a massive weakness for a man. Because here is a being with its own choice and all of that can then pull the man into a dangerous situation based off of an illogical decision based off of emotion. That is a danger to a man, and it can be a danger to the offspring. Well, logically speaking, you get rid of something like that. You get rid of a free variable. So that had to be put into check. I can go down this rabbit hole for months on end and not run out of anything to talk about. And I agree, brains do vary from person to person, but the thing is we all experience different things at different points in our life, and our brain is constantly changing. Like right now, your brain is not the same as when you started watching this stream. By you watching this stream, you have changed at least a small amount of the physical makeup of your brain through linking of neurons. So when people sit there and say that I'm fucking with people's brains, they're right. On a technical level, they are right. But the thing is, I'm fucking with my own brain. Because as I'm using this information, I'm linking more neurons. I'm reassuring those links that are already there. And I'm creating new links as I go, as I interact with you. So of course, everyone's brain is going to be a little different. But the thing is at this point, I like to think that the people that come to my streams are coming to my streams to not only share ideas, but to also in some way better themselves by having a further knowledge of the world around them. Carly earlier said that I should be a professor at a university. If the universities weren't in the state that they were in, I probably would have gone into teaching. But I saw what direction these universities were heading in. I saw the direction that these universities were heading in when I was in my early teens. And I said, yeah, fuck that. I've always enjoyed teaching people. I've always enjoyed tutoring people. Hell, I tutored people when I was in grade school. I tutored other kids. I was more than happy to share knowledge with them. But the thing is I'm not willing to be a teacher right now because I know for a fact that that would be a very finite time period there. And I alone cannot correct the damage that's being done by these other professors. These professors that are teaching these young adults to not think with logic and reason, but to think with solely emotion. There is a place for emotion, but it has to be balanced with logic and reason. And that is where our modern day universities are failing. And they're not just failing their individual students, they're failing society as a whole. Because that is a self-propagating issue. The more people that suffer from that madness, the more people will get that madness. The more generations will slip into it. The way that I could stand to be a professor is if I was to somehow, some way, manage to create my own school from scratch. And that takes millions, if not billions of dollars to do. I will never have that level of money. If I had that money right now, I would have already started up my own school. And I would have been welcoming people to come to that school to actually learn. Well, Danish, what Valeria is talking there about mind washing is the whole sensitivity training and all that they have in these colleges. She's talking about the professors being mind washed, and therefore, and then passing on that brainwashing to everyone else. And I agree with you. MGTOW isn't a cult. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end this stream here. Like I said, this one was definitely meant to be a shorter stream. It's kind of late, but I wanted to go ahead and keep my promise about talking about the friend zone. And I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. I was actually only expecting the stream to be about a half an hour long, to be perfectly honest. But I think everyone that did come, and I will be going ahead and around 12 o'clock my time. Remember, it's about 12:30 for me right now. So in about 12 hours from now, I'll probably be going ahead and doing another live stream. And I'll be going a little bit more into the effects of friend zones as well as red pill rage. Valeria, please go ahead, show up, remind me to go ahead and talk about red pill rage. We'll take some time out to go ahead and do that. But the rest of it will be basically the actual effects of the friend zone. And if someone's sitting there and saying the friend zone doesn't exist, I'll go ahead and point them to this live stream. But yeah, have a good one, everyone. Have a great night. Hopefully, those in my current time zone can actually get some sleep. I know I'm gonna sure as hell try to. I'm gonna fail horribly because I can feel it right now. I'm gonna fail. Well, like I said, it'll be somewhere around there, but I'm always late for my streams, so it probably won't be a long more until noon-ish. Do you think that sounds like a better time frame, Valeria? Waiting for a response because I know that there's some lag. All right. So, all right, everyone, have yourselves a great night. Talk to y'all later. Have a good one.